What's the most disturbing secret you are keeping from your friends and family? I have stage 4 breast cancer and a prognosis of stable. I could be here for years and years, doing my treatment and living my life. Not secret, I don't want to be a cancer patient for years and years. My treatment sucks and it makes me feel sick every day. My brain sucks due to chemo, there are some real cognitive difficulties. I had to give up a career I loved. I'm entry-level call center from home now. I've been home, not going out to fun places, since March of 2020, because my immune system sucks. It's worth the risk to go to the doctor or my son's parent-teacher conference, but not the bar. My secret is that every time I make a wish, I wish for the cancer to kill me faster. This existence, feeling like garbage and doing my call center thing so I can afford to feel like garbage, is disheartening and it sucks. I'm in therapy and an exercise program and I have hobbies. I'm doing what I can to keep slogging along. The I don't wanna is strong sometimes. I had breast cancer. While not stage 4, I have and still do, if I'm being honest, have these thoughts. I've had nothing but complications since I found out I had cancer, did chemo, had a double mastectomy, then had a MRSA infection a week later. 2 years later I'm still having complications and I have a feeding tube. I'm tired. I'm tired of being sick. I want it over no matter how it happens, but I'm still fighting for my kids and my 2 new grandbabies. These feelings are normal. You are grieving. I hope you have a therapist and are talking about it. I hope you aren't in too much pain. If you ever need someone to talk to, feel free to DM me. Mom believes my dad hired a private investigator and that's who caught her cheating on him. It wasn't a PI. In reality, I was the one who caught her on video and completely by chance. She'd come for her blood if she was ever told the truth. That my uncle showed me how to use a vibrator when I was 5. I can't even bring it up in therapy. I should clarify, the vibrator was a neck massager, but he most definitely showed me where to put it. I said it tickled and he said keep it there. Update: for years I never even considered this essay even though I knew it made me feel shame. I'd be horrified if this happened to any of my kids, but it just didn't register. I'm still not ready to share in therapy, mostly because I'm in it with my husband. As for my uncle, he's the loser in the family. Unsuccessful in every aspect. So that part of me feels like he's getting what he deserves. My sister used to kiss me with tongues and cuddle me weirdly, and now as an adult thinking back to that I realized it was super weird for her to do since we're 13 years apart. At minimum she would have been 20 when that happened and I would have been 7 at least. Nothing else happened, so maybe it was innocent stuff, but if I was 20 and made out with a 7-year-old sister, I'd be in prison. Not so much disturbing, but I absolutely never want them to find out that I am the one in the family who draws little smiley faces in random spots for everyone to find. Everyone always accuses each other and of course I play along, but I am the one who does it, lol. My second tour in Iraq, we were in a nasty firefight when I felt something wet hit the side of my face. I knew the guy next to me had been killed, but I was a little too busy to do anything about it. After it was done, the corpsman came running over making sure I was okay, and I thought it was because I was covered in the guy's blood. Turns out one of the guy's eyes was basically dangling on the side of my helmet. Truth be told, I am fine. When I mustered out, I was able to get some counseling to deal with it and other crap I saw. I was always more worried about the corpsman. I might have seen some horrific crap on the reg, but those poor bastards had to deal with trying to keep ours, and sometimes theirs, alive. I would almost certainly have killed myself if it wasn't for the fact that they'd be unable to handle it. I also pushed a candle up my ass as a teenager to see if I liked it. My mom molested me for 5 years, from ages 4 to 9. She manipulated my whole family for them to believe I am crazy, to discredit me if I were to ever come out with the truth. Then, she paid me $10,000 to not tell anyone. All I did with the money was buy heavy drugs to numb the pain. I've moved across the country to get away. My whole family hates me. Edit: thank you for all the kindness. It is very much appreciated. For those telling me they've gone through this too, I am so sorry. At least we have camaraderie in one another, I suppose. One day I woke up after a very manipulating relationship had ended and realized I didn't know how to feel anything but anger. I never really feel happy, or sad, let alone cry. I'm never excited for anything. People have died and I just can't seem to feel anything. I put on a great face, can fake most of my emotions, But deep down I don't really feel anything positive or negative besides anger. The more I type, the more I realize I don't even know how to put it all into words. That when I was in middle school I was groomed by an online predator I met on Omegle. Being a stupid child at the time, I innocently believed I was talking to someone my age and should have seen the red flags when they kept making excuses on why they couldn't send pics or video chat or talk on the phone for that matter, but had no problem texting and asking me for explicit pictures of myself. My cousin that is 7 years older than me, and I had never met before then, told me that boys his age, 14 at the time, needed to experiment with women and that I should let him learn and not tell anyone. My friends and family don't use Reddit, so no throwaway necessary. Sometimes, I am passively suicidal. I am so tired of being alive, but I don't want to kill myself. 1. I'm afraid of what happens or doesn't happen after you die. 2. I don't want to hurt them like that, even if I am in a lot of pain. 3. There's still some things I want to do, even though I do feel worthless/ugly/exhausted. As you can imagine, I don't really have anyone to talk about it with, and I don't want to worry the people I love. It's a battle sometimes. Edit, I'm gonna cry, you guys. I really didn't anticipate all the attention/support this comment got. Thank you so much. I can't imagine the future. People ask me what my plans are and I just don't know. I have no chance of making plans. There's just no vision or hope or amount of wishing hard enough to try and plan or predict my own future. I'd rather be dead than have to try to think about where I'll be in 5 years. I escorted for years, including my junior and senior years of high school, to pay for college. So many times I would be at a friend's doing schoolwork but I was with a client, or a few times I told them I was going out of town for the weekend as part of a school club trip when I was actually being flown to different cities by much older men for the weekend. I even typed up a bullshit permission slip and everything. BTW, I am aware of how dangerous that was. I do not need a lecture. They think I took out student loans and am still paying them off to this day. I was able to pay for all 4 years by the time I graduated. The only reason I am still here today is because I forgot to load a round into the chamber of my pistol when I was 18. I pulled the trigger but thankfully all the rounds were in the clip. It was a huge wake-up call. I am doing a lot better now. Same here, I've had 2 of the best years of my life. I had this shit job right before it got serious with lockdown and whatnot. So I end up losing the job. I applied for the pandemic assistance unemployment. Ended up getting a nice little sum. With that I was able to get a car. After that I found a job I love. Now I'm making a comfortable wage while making strides of progress at my job. This is all following the end of 8-year downward spiral of my life because of drugs and alcohol. I've never been happier or more optimistic about the future. Thanks COVID. Terminal illness. Chances are I have less than 10 years, but it could be tomorrow. No cure, no chance of recovery. There may be a point before too long where I am unable to hide it, but some of them are old so might pass before that happens. I'm happy to keep it quiet for their peace of mind as long as possible. Don't know if it counts as a disturbing secret, but am more upset about the slack and expectations on me now than I am about my brother's death. Maintaining a relationship with him feels like a job. We weren't close when I was young and now they want to be super close. Maybe to make up for lost time? But I got used to being left alone, so now I prefer it that way. My, almost, ex-husband's mom introduced me to meth, and even though I hated it, I kept doing it because I worked 80-hour weeks trying to keep our family afloat during the pandemic. Husband wasn't working, by choice. I hated myself so much, and I hated that I was doing it, but I loved being able to stay awake to do whatever was needing to be done. This went on for about a year. Eventually found out he was cheating on me for a long while, kicked him out, and got together with someone else. He unknowingly got me clean. I've been clean for about 14 months now and it makes me sick to even type this shit out. The worst choices I've ever made, by far. That my mental health is collapsing again. I'm failing uni again, and I'm going into debt to stay afloat again. Thinking about becoming a drug dealer or killing myself before the year's out because those are the only options left, but don't know if I can do that to my cancer-diagnosed mom. Edit, I'd like to thank everyone for their kind words. Didn't really expect anything when I posted this. It means a lot. Most days I feel like I don't know who I am. I was diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression around 15 years old. I feel like I never got to develop a personality. I've never been able to hold down a job for more than a few months due to my mental health. Sometimes I feel okay, but most of the time I just feel like 3 mental illnesses in a trench coat trying to find my way through life. Might not be incredibly disturbing, but it's a secret. I've hated and doubted my family's religion for 5 years straight. I'm Mormon. Not gonna go into greater detail cause I'm already getting paranoid just saying that. You are constantly worrying that one of your friends will tell your parents, or one of your teachers. I can't even tell half of my IRL friends because they are part of the church, and I can assure you they will tell somebody, and I'll be forced to go to some sort of faith class, basically, Mormon rehab for people who doubt the church. And yes, I'm not even exaggerating. Look it up. My aging mother is battling cancer. She isn't winning. She has asked me to be power of attorney and the executor of her estate. While going through her legal papers, I came across the documents that show that my sister, we are both in our 50s, is actually only my half-sister. She has a different father. My mom never told anyone. My father has been gone for almost 20 years, and he never said anything either. He stepped up when the real father took off. This was in the 1960s. My sister doesn't know. I actually hate them and feel no love for them, but I feel obligated to be a good family member. Also, they would all probably kill each other without my good vibes to settle everyone down. I'm the middle child and kinda like Kevin McAllister from Home Alone, was constantly shit on by every member of my family. I was the scapegoat, I was the problem, I was the issue. Family legend: my grandfather and grandmother fell in love at first sight and courted one another for years before getting married. Reality: they met when my grandfather was on a 2-day pass, fell in love at first sight, and were married by the end of the weekend. Both corroborated this story in separate private interviews I conducted when compiling family history. That I quit college. This is a huge deal, since I was in college for 3 years, and now every day is beyond terrifying to me because with each passing day my future is getting closer and I don't know if it's gonna be okay. That I took Madge, now ex-girlfriend, to get an abortion. She wanted to keep it, but I was in a downward spiral and life soaked in drug abuse. I couldn't even think about having a child in that moment, as I could barely take care of myself. She eventually agreed, but I know deep down that she wanted to keep it. We broke up a couple of weeks later after the abortion, as she couldn't even look at me anymore. It's been 5 years since then, and I still hate myself every single day because of it. I wonder what that child would have been like, and if I ever would have been able to take care of them. Also, the abortion clinic was under renovation at the time we arrived, so they moved the clinic into the maternity ward at the hospital. My girlfriend was taken away for the procedure, and I was left sitting in the waiting room holding back tears. A man sat down next to me and said, "I know it's scary, man, but it'll be the best moment of your life. My wife is in labor right now." Later on, the same man and his wife were being moved to another room, as she had just had her baby. My girlfriend had just come out at the same time, and was under a heavy amount of pain medication. She saw the newborn baby and said they just had a baby, and I just killed one. I hear that sentence every single day. I fantasize about murder constantly. I go to therapists and psychiatrists, started recently, but I have these thoughts ever since I was a kid. I have never killed any animals, I love them and could never, and I don't plan on killing anyone for the simple fact that I don't want to go to prison. I keep making violent drawings and I tell everyone it's just inspired on horror movies and games that I enjoy, but the truth is that I'm venting the daily images from inside my head. I have a normal life. Not many friends, but simply because I'm not interested in making any. I have a girlfriend whom I love very much, and my older brother that always makes me laugh, a job with some good people, and I go to college. But when I'm alone, at my head, I've killed everyone in the nastiest way ever. I've kept a lot of secrets about my marriage to my late husband. I didn't tell anyone when he was alive about how he'd scream and curse at me or that he was an alcoholic. After he died, I found mountains of evidence of his unfaithfulness, and I still didn't tell anyone. I could never figure out where all our money was going and he would rage until I quit asking. Turns out it was going to escorts. I loved our marriage most days and had no idea about the infidelity until after he was gone. He was a good guy overall, even if tormented, and I don't want to taint the memories people hold of him, He's been gone for a few months now and I haven't told my family that I'm dating again. I know they would understand if I told them about the reality of my marriage, but I feel too much loyalty to him to reveal the truth about him. That I bullied this girl so much just because I was jealous of her and her life. Afterwards she reported me and I was scared to get called out again, so I stopped and genuinely tried to be friends with her. She forgave me and now we're best friends, but I still regret that I ever became that kind of person. I have recently started making erotic ink drawings. They have seen suggestive pictures I have made earlier, but now the orifices that are usually covered by clothes are front and center. I just stopped going to work a month and a half ago. I've been telling them I am sick while just going full shut-in agoraphobe. The bills are going to become a problem soon, but I can't work up the motivation to leave my house yet, but I haven't really talked to anyone about it. Not sure why. I might be gearing up to give up on life altogether. That I really hate my dad. My mom was an alcoholic who drank herself to death close to 20 years ago. My dad pretty clearly never wanted the responsibility of raising kids, have a half-sister from his first marriage, and has been remarried twice now. You could tell he never wanted to spend his free time with either me or my sister, who I also don't really get along with, and just wanted to be there on his convenience for the good times. He'd verbally chastise me for not being interested in doing the stuff he wanted me to be interested in, like sports. I had some emotional problems that kept me from doing well in school, and I'd get verbally abused for bad grades, or anything that would cause him to have to take time to be a parent. I moved out at 19 and a lot of the stress in my life at the time disappeared because I didn't have to see him all the time. I started visiting less and less and noticed when I did come around all he did was complain about my sister or the current wife's kid being a drain on him. He wasn't ever really concerned about me anymore. We'd still get together a few times a year for holidays and stuff, but I'd find myself dreading visits, because he'd always try to emotionally manipulate me, so I'd feel bad about not coming around more often. I tried to get a bit more involved with him after a few years, but he'd always have some excuse for why he couldn't spend time with me, even though he's retired and doesn't have much of a schedule anymore. My wife even got into a little argument with him via text last summer, and I found out from my sister that he thinks my wife and I are overreacting to what he said. Even though it wasn't anything major, he's still yet to apologize to my wife, aside from a half-hearted text that I'm pretty sure my stepmother put him up to. I am hopeful that the next time we move, when and if we can afford a house, I won't send him my new address and I can just sever ties completely. My mom killed herself last year. I've been so messed up over it. I've had to be strong and act like we will get through this for my dad and brothers. I have a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old and I have been on maternity leave since the end of November. My husband is working night shift and I'm so lonely. My mom was my best friend and always came over. I sit here most nights either crying or just stuck on the couch feeling like I'm going to die from grief. I recently relapsed. I had been sober for almost 2.5 years from drinking and I'm a nurse. I feel like I take care of everyone but no one takes care of me. A part of me will always resent my stepmom and half-brothers, and my dad for remarrying. My mom passed away from breast cancer when I was 14, 23 now, and she had been fighting it for 19 years at that point. My dad has always been an amazing parent. My stepmom is nice and cares for me and my sister even though we aren't hers. She's my stepmom in name only. We have an unspoken agreement that I don't want her to be my mom and she doesn't want to be either, and we're fine with that. I love my brothers and they're great, but still too young to really understand the whole situation with the family. I shouldn't have any reason to be bitter because they've never done anything bad to me. But I can't help but feel like my mom is just being pushed into memory and that I'm the only one missing her every day. I know it's not true but it's hard. That my grandma's boyfriend touched me inappropriately several times as a child. First time it happened I was 10 and eating at a restaurant with him. My cousin I didn't know well and my grandma. I was shocked and didn't say anything. I punched him the most recent time it happened though. I was 15 and he grabbed me tits, so I punched him hard while he played the victim and said, "Oh no, I mistook it for your hand." On one hand my whole family hates him, but on the other hand my grandmom is very alone, has about 0 friends, and I would feel sad for her. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.